Hey guys, this week you have to apply what we've learned about volume of rectangular prisms in your skyline activity, and you also have triangular prisms on your warm-up. So I wanted to kind of touch base and give you a quick review of the two shapes, but I wanted to start with how they actually form. So remember, a prism is a prism because it has two bases. They have to be opposite of each other. So the first one I want to look at is a rectangular prism. And this is just a Kleenex box. It's a rectangular prism, but I wanted to start by showing you how a rectangular prism is formed. So a rectangular prism, obviously the base is a rectangle. So I'm going to look at this. And a rectangular prism is basically formed by taking the base, which is a rectangle, and stacking the same size on top of it. And however tall that prism is, it's basically just made, a rectangular prism is basically just made by stacking rectangles on top of each other. So if I put these side by side, these aren't the same height. This is just a rectangle on the bottom stacked on top of each other. Now, the difference in a rectangular prism and a triangular prism is the base. The base on a rectangular prism is a rectangle, and the triangular prism, the base is a triangle. So I apologize, I do not have a triangular prism here. But if I start with just one triangle, and that is my base, a triangular prism is formed the same way. So I'm going to basically be stacking triangles on top of triangles that are the same size. So as I do that, I've got triangular triangles, and as I continue to stack them, I end up having a 3D triangular prism. On a triangular prism, it doesn't matter if it's laying on the triangle or if it's flipped this way. You put the triangles together, that's where you get your triangular prism. Now, a quick review on how to find the volume of a rectangular prism, since on your skyline, you're going to be using rectangular prisms from your house. Let's say your rectangular prism looks like this. We know that in FSA, we start with rectangular prism. The formula is V equals capital B lowercase h. The capital B stands for area of the base. And since it is a rectangular prism, we draw a rectangle around it. So we need to find the area of a rectangle first. So that formula is base times height. And then you bring this h down. So what that looks like, let's say I have this rectangular prism right here. I'm starting with the base. So just one of these rectangles, let's say I have dimensions that are, I don't know if you can see that, 10 and 5. So I need to find the area of that first, and 10 times 5 is 50. So if I am creating a rectangular prism by stacking 50 on top of 50, that's 100 on top of another 50 on top of another 50. So however high it is, that's how many of those 50s I'm stacking on top of each other. So let's say I have 2 high. The volume of that would be 100, because 50 here, the area was 50, times 2 is 100. Let's say I had 3 high. Remember, the area of the base was 50. So 50, 50, and 50 is 150. Let's say I had 4 high. That would be 50 times 4, which would be 200. So you're going to take what I had here was 10 times 5, and then whatever the height of the prism is. So let's say it's 4. So this right here, I do 50 times 4, which would be 200. You can see that. I want to give you one example of a triangular prism, because you do have one of those on your warm-ups, and just to kind of build on what you know so far. So so if I'm finding the volume of a triangular prism, I start with the name of it. The formula for volume is the same as a rectangular prism. The difference is going to be this capital B here, okay? Because on a triangular prism, the base is a triangle. So I'm going to draw a triangle around that. And I'll come back to this in just a second. So let's say I'm going to find the volume of this triangular prism. I'm going to show you a couple of different views. So if you can't tell, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles high. So that's going to be our height of the triangular prism. Let me try to show you at this angle. So even if it's sitting like this, it is still a triangular prism. So we are going to start with the capital B, which means the area of the base. So the base here, or the bottom, is just one of these triangles. So I'm going to kind of take this apart real quick. So if I look at this one triangle here, I need to find the area of this one triangle. So I traced it there. So you can see the dimensions of a triangle. So the bottom of it is 6. The slanted edges are also 6. And the line that goes straight up and down is 4, which you should know is the height, because height has to go straight up and down. It cannot be leaning or slanted. So comparing this picture to what we have over here, the base on a triangular prism is a triangle. So when we go to substitute, we're going to replace the capital B with the formula for area of a triangle, which is 1/2 BH. Okay, so this formula here represents the capital B. And then, let me actually stop there and go back to this. So if I'm finding the area of the base here, my base is 6, my height is 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. And then I need to cut that in half, which would be 12. So from this part right here, the 1/2 BH is going to give me 12. And then I still need to multiply it by the height of the prism. So I'm going to bring that down here. And remember, the height of the prism that I originally showed you was, oh, it just fell apart. The height of the prism that I showed you was 5 tall. So I'm going to put that in there. So 12 times 5 is going to give me 60. So the volume of this triangular prism would be 60.